Yes, welcome to the Chelsea Fancast, fueled by Guinness, powered by Celery. It's the Chelsea Fancast preview show, number 1129. Should anybody be remotely interested, I can't imagine why on earth you would be, but I say it because that's what we do. I'm Stamford Chidge, and I am joined, as ever, by the illustrious Jonathan Kydd.
I've got a banana.
Have you now?
Yeah.
We all wanted to know that.
I thought you would. Well, people might have wanted to know what my diet was like. You know, we're being seen live. We're live, and we're objects of desire for some people. Well, not desire is the wrong word, isn't it? We're derision for some people.
Yeah. Yes, derision, I think, is very apt. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Very apt. Yeah.
So there we go. Here we go, JK. Another episode of drivel and pointless analysis before and after games.
Yes, we must remember. You've remembered it. That's why you just said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drivel and pointless analysis. Yeah. What is it? Drivel and pointless. The Dapper team.
The Dapper team. Where did you get the Dapper thing from?
Drivel.
Oh, right. It's an acronym.
Analysis. Yeah.
Dapper. I like it. We definitely need to get T-shirts with that on.
Yeah, but
not Dapper. Drivel and pointless.
Indeed, drivel and pointless. Yeah, but you could have big letters, so it's Dapper. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, lovely. We've got the wonderful Clayton Beerman on with us, haven't we?
We have.
Hello. And he, of course, is the housewife's choice, isn't he?
Just wait for Jonathan to cue me up.
Yeah, I'm just about to cue up. I hadn't got it ready actually, so.
I had no idea that you hadn't got it ready, JK.
Quelle surprise!
I thought I'd keep the degree of
shock,
the shambolic aspect of it going. May I compliment you on your T-shirt, Clayton? Which, of course,
and why am I wearing my T-shirt?
Because you're a lad insane, aren't you?
Ah, very good. No, but do you know what it is? It's 51 effing years this was released.
Really?
51.
Yeah,
Good
probably one of my favourite Bowie albums, actually. I mean, it was the first one that and Ziggy were the two I really got into first, and probably Changes. Actually, is it Changes? The one before that?
It's Hunky Dory. Was the one before Ziggy.
Freudian slip. Those are the first three I had. But actually, the older I've got, I'm very enamoured of Low.
That was part of a trilogy as well, wasn't it? With Heroes and Lodger. So
I like that. And then there's
Welcome to the David Bowie fan club.
The bottom line is we could do this all night, and I'd be going, well, actually that one's my favourite as well. And and actually that one's my favourite because I love them all. You know.
That's on the track on the album.
You're the cracked actor, mate.
Yeah, to me, it's just one of the most iconic images of my lifetime. Just extraordinary. I've got loads of. And what are you going? Okay, well, you better turn that off before Chidge is sued. Anyway, Good evening, everybody.
For those of you who can't hear it at home, because JK thinks that if you put a mobile phone near a microphone, actually it will relay. It won't. I've tested this by research,
and it has just occurred to me that yes, there will be people watching on YouTube, but there'll also be people listening who haven't got a Scooby what we're talking about. I'm wearing an Aladdin Sane T-shirt, folks.
Well done, Clayton, for bringing some sense and decorum back to the show. I'm not saying that JK was chaotic and shambolic, but anyway, as ever...
That was the Baron. The Baron.
Okay,
the Baron. That was the theme tune to the Baron. I'm changing Clayton's nickname from the Housewife's Choice to the Baron.
Well, why don't you find a way? You have a computer there and a microphone. Find a way to put it on the computer, press play... So it will relay through your microphone directly. And then everybody hears it.
Okay. Did nobody hear any of that then at all?
Oh no, they won't, because we barely picked it up. You know. Okay. We need input from the audience, who I will introduce formally in a minute. We want input from you. Did you hear JK's highly researched bit of music from the Baron to introduce the lovely Clayton Beerman? You can be honest. I've got a big grin from Jenny Matthews. I don't know if that's relating to what we just talked about. no doubt they will let us know. And talking of Mixler, and, the fine denizens of YouTube and Facebook, for that matter, we do this show live every Monday and Friday at roughly 7:30. We do it as we always have, as an internet radio show, which you can listen on Mixler at chelsea-fancast.mixler.com. But now, amazingly, we have the technology to do this live.
No, they didn't hear it. They didn't hear it.
No, I know. Yeah, heard fuck all. There you go. See? Now we don't want to hear it. I'll have to mute you. Stop being annoying. Anyway,
this is the Housewife's choice.
I know, but they can't hear it. Play it through your computer. No, they cannot hear it. They can't hear it. Anyway, where were we? Yes, YouTube channel, Facebook page. You can watch us live as well on Monday and Friday. Yeah, that's right. The great benefit of all of that, of course, is that you can send us messages to say, what on earth are you talking about? We can't hear a bloody thing, when JK tries to do his homage to Clayton, etc., etc., etc. And occasionally we will interact with you. Oh, yes. Now, you can also follow us on all the socials at Chelsea Fancast. That's right. Listen and subscribe on Acast, Spotify, Apple, and all good podcast platforms, because, of course, we are first and foremost a podcast, really. And it'll go up after we finished sometime tonight. So there we go. Whatever you're listening to us or watching us on, leave a like, subscribe, leave us a nice, sexy 5-star review, and we'll love you forever, because we are, in fact, that shallow. Now, after this, we're actually going to be talking about the Chelsea versus Everton thrashing. We gave them a damn good thrashing, a 6 of the best spanking. I loved it. There we go. Palmer, ole, ole, ole. Palmer again, ole, ole. Palmer again. Palmer again. Palmer again, ole, ole. I loved it, mate. What a superstar, JK.
Is that the song that they were singing?
Yeah.
From the,
we were all singing it, apart from you lot in the middle of the
we couldn't hear it or understand it. We kept saying to each other, what exactly?
Did you not have your ear trumpet in?
What are they all singing? Those supporters down there in the bad seats.
Strange oink singing.
Yes. What are they? What are they? Those strange.
Do you want me to do it again?
With their strange Cockney accents. Yes.
Do you want me to do it again? Palmer again, ole, ole. Palmer again, ole, ole. Palmer again. Palmer again. Palmer again, ole, ole.
Is there a tune to that, Chidge?
Well, when other people sing it, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Any idea what the tune is? Is it a known tune?
I've no idea, mate. But I tell you what, it's. I mean, he's remarkable. He is remarkable. That first goal, JK, you were weeing yourself about it before we went on air. Over to you.
Thank you. Well, I'm afraid I got tears in my eyes, because it was so Osgood-like that I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, it's the spectre of Ozzy. The nutmeg, the drag back, the back heel flick, and then all credit to Jackson for the 1-2, and then they're just placing it in the corner was absolutely phenomenal. And one doesn't wish to jump the gun here, but he is like the lob was absolutely supreme. He is a supreme player, and I hope something doesn't get in the way to stop him from being a supreme player. Whether he actually, I mean, Matt Poch mentions it in the press conference, but he's getting better and better and better. And I wonder whether that had anything to do. We'll discuss that in the show. Him playing in midfield as opposed to actually starting off on the wing at the head of the three.
Excuse me, I'd just like to interject at this point to say somebody on this show who will remain nameless got the team lineup spot on, and the formation and the positions.
Was it me?
No, JK. You don't do the lineup.
I suspect it wasn't me either.
No, it wasn't Clayton. It was in fact me.
He's asking somebody, therefore it must be him. Yeah, it must be you.
Process of elimination.
Right, JK.
Wow, Chidge, fantastic, well done. Yeah, I was going to congratulate you on that. Actually, it was. Excuse me, I was.
Okay,
I was.
all right.
I was.
Thank you.
You did very well, but it's difficult to evaluate, isn't it? Because he just gets better and better, and to score 4 goals, you can't see it emulating Frank. Frank scored 4 goals several seasons after his debut. Yeah, but seasons after his debut season, which wasn't the same impact. And Giroud, of course, scored 4 goals as well, didn't he? In the Europa League. But it wasn't a Giroud type 4 goals. It was an element of a Frank 4 because he was
perfect hat trick inside 30 minutes.
Precision shot, yeah, perfect hat trick. Yeah, it was. As I say, the first goal was so phenomenal that I actually just stood there in complete, not disbelief, because he can do that, but the emotions it aroused in me to think we have got potentially there a world-class player, a player who can set the team alight, set the ground alight. The joy that came out. He's
the one to set them alight, Chelsea.
Yes, the joy that came out of the fans in that moment, and the whispering that went on after the goal, the kind of the chatter you could hear, people going, it was kind of came out as a kind of just a little whistle, people going, what a goal, what a fantastic goal, which is exactly what everybody was talking about, the brilliance of that goal. And then for him to score, to be in the right place for the header, and then the impertinence of the lob. Oh my goodness me. What a fan. But having said that, though, I'm sorry to say this, but somebody did say earlier on in the Fancast, I think possibly in October, that we had a bit of a special player there. And I wonder who that was.
Clayton.
Yes, it was Clayton.
I don't know, mate, because I can't remember what happened yesterday, let alone months
ago. It was me.
It was you, was it? Was it really you? Was it really you?
Yeah, I think
so
Clayton,
clever.
Clayton mentioned it as well, didn't you, Clayton, when you came and said what a wonderful player he was.
You're so clever, JK. You really are. Clayton,
what's your view of all this? I have mentioned the fact that our scattergun approach on purchasing various players has worked insofar as that we've got some jewels, and he is obviously the jewel in the crown. He is quite astonishing.
It's a crown jewel.
It is amazing. That first goal was like it was like the Hazard goal against Arsenal, and it was like the Hazard goal against West Ham, where you just basically went, "Oh my God, what on earth have I just witnessed?"
Yes,
it was because the first nutmeg, and you just went, "Oh, he can do that," and then he turns around and back heels it, and you just think, "Well, that's fantastic." So you're already satisfied because you've seen 2 bits of brilliant skill, and then the way he just literally passed that ball into the net afterwards, and you're right, JK, there was like a murmuring, and it was like being at cricket where they show a fantastic catch afterwards, that people actually applaud afterwards, and that's when they showed the goal again on the screen. People
there's also a sharp intake of breath again, as what they applaud, they go as well when they watch it on the screen as well.
I mean, so that was fantastic, and I think the lob is incredibly underrated, because people think that Pickford just fucked up and he just whacked it over his head. The skill to do what he did, to pass that ball or to lob that ball back in, was extraordinary, because it was he didn't even think about it, he just did it. And that is the level of player that we've got, and sort of the club have got to build the team around him.
Yeah,
they've got to go out and say, what do you want? What do you need?
Yeah, Clayton, absolutely, mate. I couldn't agree more with that.
This is, we've got to hold on to this player. We have got to match this guy's ambition.
Yeah, definitely.
Is he on an 8-year contract?
I don't know. I think he might be.
He must be.
Well, he's 7 or 8 or something like that. Yeah. But that's irrelevant, because if Real Madrid come knocking in 2 years' time, he's gone. But we've got to make sure that we've got a team round him that he thinks, no, I want to stay here. Well, and if you make him the focus, then hopefully that's what he'll want to do. I think one of the greatest things about him, he just seems so grounded.
and build the team around him, Clayton. I totally agree. And I mean, we were saying where we were that first goal was Hazard-esque.
Yeah.
And actually, not just that, it was his impact on the game is increasingly becoming. And I'm not sitting here saying he's as good as Hazard. They're entirely different.
Very different players. Very different.
But his impact on the team. I mean, a lot of the talk this week was, are we a one-man team? Well, we were a one-man team for a couple of years with Hazard. You know, if he was in the mood, he'd take the game by the scruff of the neck, be magical, and we would win the game. And I think Palmer, even at the age, I mean, fucking hell, how old is he? 19?
20.
Is he 20? He's 20 years old, and he's doing that already. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's a hell of a player, mate.
But I have to say, amongst the oldies who I sit with, everybody said Osgood as well.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
It was universal.
With all due deference and respect, I think, and myself included, because I remember saying it to the late great John Hollins when you very kindly guested me, and I had the opportunity to speak to him. We said the same about Morata. The Morata, with the way he played, was very Osgood-like. He's sort of whole demeanour.
We did.
But then that all went to shit. But listen, he's wonderful. He really is wonderful.
He is.
I think Morata was more the heading style and the getting into places rather than the the swerving and the ability.
And he was tall and lithe, but actually, so is Palmer. Palmer's, physically, Ozzy was quite wiry and tall and lithe, I think is the expression.
Yeah.
So and he glided, and I think Cole Palmer glides as well. So there are similarities, but it's breathtaking. I mean, I'm not going to bore everybody with the stats because you've probably been reading them all week. But he's already got 20 goals, numerous assists. Nobody's done that for us for a year. Well, since Hazard, no doubt. And it's the quickest hat trick in the Premier League, I believe. As I said, he scored 4 goals in the game. I mean, we've had a few who've done that recently, so that's not that amazing. He scored more penalties than anybody else apart from Frank. If he gets 2 more, he'll break the Chelsea record in the Premier League. I mean, I think we're witness. I mean, for the miasma of shit that this season has been on and off the pitch, this young kid is the absolute fucking shining beacon, and we have to absolutely love him for it, because without him this season, we would have been off, mate. I think because there's nothing left of it. But he's amazing.
We'd have been relegated, Chidge.
Well, I'm talking about us, I think we would have said, well, fuck it off, what's the point? But, he's just fantastic. I mean, God love him, and thank God he's playing for us at the moment. Listen, there's so much to talk about in this game, which we will do in a minute. But the other one I wanted to get in good and early was arguably the loveliest moment of the entire evening, which was Alfie Gilchrist absolutely leathering. I mean, great technique for that goal, but his celebration, we didn't need reminding, we know, but reminding those that do need to know how important it is to have kids from the academy doing well in this team, and how much it means to them, and hopefully how much that translates to some of the fucking egomaniacs about whom we will talk in a minute, what it's about playing for Chelsea. Clayton, I thought it was brilliant. What a lovely moment.
It was very, very special. And what was lovely was that as like everybody else in the stadium, when he was walking back to halfway line, you could see he was looking up at the screen and sort of just shaking his head and going, shaking his fist, and just, it was wonderful. It was really good. He looks a decent prospect, and it is. It sort of, it tears away all that cynicism that swirls around the Premier League, that horrible, Sky and BT or whatever they're called these days, that horrible cynicism, the sort of, trying to build up trouble and sort of getting to games more difficult by the week. And then you see a moment of genuine joy. And that, as you say, that was for whatever Cole Palmer did, which was unbelievably special. That was as special a moment. And it was great. And I hate the he's one of our own chant, because I can only think of Harry Kane when people sing it. But it's great.
He is. So who cares? JK, do you know what? His celebration and his joy reminded me of when Trevo scored his first goal for the club. Remember that? Quite similar, actually. He walloped one in from about 20 yards, didn't he?
Yes. I mean, in fact, I think Trevor was slightly further out, wasn't he?
But, maybe. Yeah.
But he started crying, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. I mean,
whereas we didn't get we got it translated into just a rictus of joy, just that look on his face, and he actually when he talked it through afterwards. He said he'd always imagined since he was little scoring and then looking up at the screen to see himself scoring after he'd scored, which is a lovely idea and image. That's the first thing you want to do. It's almost as if you don't believe it. You have to see yourself bashing it in, and he was fabulous. Actually, that was a fabulous reaction, and you couldn't have asked for a better end to the game actually, because it was. And he took the goal very well. He did that thing of getting over the ball and blasting it in. You know, he looked at it. And, fantastic. Yeah. I wish because one of the games he played recently, all he did was pass the ball back, and I was thinking he's got to get out of that mindset. And I think so much of it is they were all relaxed because they'd taken them to the cleaners.
Confident.
So and they all got confident, and so he was.
I think
they're attacking, you know. So
this is the thing with them, though, isn't it? I think they are absolutely a confidence team. It's either rock bottom or sky high. There's no middle ground with them, and this is why we're getting these up and down results. Anyway, I just wanted to mention this to you because we're nothing if not fair on this show, and we've been giving Moises, get out of here!
Get out of here! There he is. Hey.
Moises. Yeah, we've been giving him a bit of a shoeing, really, haven't we? And I think not unfairly, he's been shite recently. But I thought Moises, aided by Connor in the 2, Clayton, actually worked really well. I thought they looked like a proper, kind of defensive-ish midfield unit. And so it makes me think, the theories about Enzo and Moises being too similar and really kind of cancelling each other out might be valid. But, with somebody prepared to put in a tackle and be tactically disciplined, which I thought Connor was, he looked a lot better. I thought he was one of our best players, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he was one of our best performers on the evening. Him and Connor were both excellent. I think there has to be some context against who we were playing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to me, they looked like they'd given up on the manager. That was a sort of thrown in the towel type.
It was pitiful, mate.
They started off well. 10 minutes should have scored.
Yeah, and should have scored. And is it Bento or Frey Bentos or whatever his name is, has to be one of the worst footballers I've ever seen. And I've seen some bad ones. He was awful. Anyway, but no, I mean, credit where credit's due. You can only play against what you're put up against. And I thought he looked great. I think it did, in many ways, sort of, it sort of hinted insofar as Enzo and him seem to get in each other's way sometimes. I don't think it's that simplistic.
No.
I just think that they both played well and they both fought. And, I think if he's fit, I think Enzo will be back at the weekend as, as part of the 3. But no, it was good. It was a really good evening because, however shite Everton were, everybody played well. And it was a pleasure. It was such a joy. One of my mates was basically saying, isn't it nice to actually be at a game and not worry?
Yeah.
And it was the first time.
Once they put the 5th in, when they put the 5th in, I stopped worrying.
Absolutely.
The 4th, we relaxed slightly. But when we were 3-0 up, we thought what a dangerous score that was, because you think, I need another one here. But that because we know that we concede a goal and it gets to the team really, really badly.
But do you think the pairing of Chalobah and Silva is infinitely superior to having Dessassi and Badiashile on the pitch? I think so. Hugely.
I mean, I said on Monday or whenever we did the show, it was a week ago, wasn't it? I said, dudes, Chalobah, Silva's the best defender we have at the club, but his legs are, a bit like mine. So, Chalobah is the best and most accomplished defender at the club, in my opinion. You know, he's more accomplished. He's been there longer. He's won more shit. He knows what it's all about, and he's a decent player.
I thought he had a very good game indeed.
Yeah, he's ahead of all the others in my opinion. Of course, they'll sell him in the summer, and you know. But I thought they looked really, really good. They just looked like a defense. I mean, okay, I agree with you both what you're saying. I mean, they were playing Everton, who were basically they were gone after half an hour, weren't they? So,
well, their heads went down after the first goal. Actually, some of them. That was it. McNeil. You could see he was thinking, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now?" Just after the first goal, and I was thinking, "Hang on, it's Chelsea. What's the matter with you?" Make more of an effort. After 2, I thought, well, hang on, it's 2-2 now. It'll be 2-2. Of course it is. Every single time we play. Come on.
Yeah, but you do have to take that into account. But I still thought they were very, very good. I mean, I was even pleasantly surprised. I mean, Clayton would have had an absolutely beautiful view of this, as did I, but from the side rather than front on. But I thought Jackson scored a really good goal as well, actually.
Yeah,
he put a good performance.
Yeah.
What was it like from where you were, Clayton?
Surprising. Yeah, no, it was a really good goal. I think that we have established that he is a streak player. He will score a couple of goals and then do nothing for 3-4 games, etc. I thought it was a great goal. I didn't really celebrate it because I thought that Cucurella was offside, and I think they did check that for a while. But it was a really good cross. I mean, his control was excellent. Control the shot. I think Pickford should have stopped it, but I think Pickford by then had just gone. It was quite funny because I remember sort of having a conversation with somebody saying, obviously, that Pickford will turn into Gordon Banks, as he invariably did over the years. He's cost us so many points and he's played so brilliantly. But
payback, wasn't it?
He was shocking. He was absolutely shocking. It was good. But I just thought his whole build-up play and the sort of the little 1-2 that he did with Cole for the first goal was good. And he looks, he looked good. I mean, I think he is decent. We'll put it no further than that. But listen, he scored, and that's what it's all about.
I would kind of. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, even we were a bit guilty of this, or maybe just me. But the Drogba was mentioned in dispatches around Jacko at the beginning of the season. I think JK, he's more like a Salomon Kalou type player.
Likely to hit the ball over from 6 yards out when it's easier to score. Yes,
but I think I think the comparisons should be more with Kalou than Drogba.
Well, I think because Kalou was more of a winger as well, actually. Yeah. And the trouble is that you look back at some of what Kalou did. I think actually your parallel is absolutely correct. Kalou would occasionally do something really excellent, but the chances were that you'd then give him the ball one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he'd sky it 50 yards over the bar. So, or it was easier just to tap it in and he'd fall over. So,
well, that miss in the FA Cup final against Everton is still etched on my mind because I was right behind the goal.
Sorry, Chidge, it was Portsmouth.
He was
standing on the goal line and hit the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, there've been so many cup finals; they all kind of roll into one for me. But I was definitely right behind the goal, and you're right. He was a yard, if that, away from the goal line. He managed to put it over the bar. I mean, the skill to be able to do that is unfathomable.
Yeah,
but quite shocking. But that was Kalou for you. My favourite Kalou moment, really, I can't remember what European game it was now, but we were wearing some very strange green kits, and he kind of like got tackled in the penalty box. And in the process, his shorts came down to his knees, and his shiny little buttocks were there for all to see. It was quite. I think it might have been in the days when we were doing this on Sports Tonight live, JK, because we had a photograph of it. Do you not remember?
I remember. Was he wearing a thong? I think he was, wasn't he?
I couldn't possibly comment, but
no, clearly not.
He was showing us his best side. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Bless.
But yes. One would hope that because Jackson appears to be getting better, that there is a kind of upward graph here. But I suspect, as you've said, Clayton, he's just as likely to disappear for 2 games and fall over a lot. I think he did that thing the other day, which was the game. Was it against Burnley? One of those matches where he did a wonderful turn, ran to the penalty area, and all he had to do was tap in and miss the ball completely. And I thought, well,
no, it was Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, yeah. I thought
I mean,
done something.
The other side. No, sorry, mate. I didn't. No, you carry on if you.
No, I'm just going to say that it's part of the it's part of the mythos, isn't it? It's part of the he's enigmatic to a fault. I mean, it's just you don't know which he's like the team, really, isn't it? Except you don't know which Jackson's going to turn up, even during a game. He'll do something excellent, as the goal was excellent, but he's just as likely to grab the ball off Palmer.
Well, I mean that's a great segue, because I was going to say, there is the other side to Jackson, particularly. And I've called. I mean, I really didn't want to talk about this first, because I really feel that on Monday night the media did a wholesome job of hijacking the positivity of us thrashing Everton 6-0 at home with a bit of a stitch-up job. But we have to talk about it because it's very relevant, and I've called it the penalty. I'm going on Chris Waddle there. The penalty petulance, because for me that's what it was. I'll just give you my view on it first, and then we can all have a big doodah about it. I fundamentally disagree with Tony, both in what he said on WhatsApp and on X. I completely disagree. This isn't about passion at all. This is. I mean, I said at the time to the people I was sitting with that this is. I screamed out. I said I was shouting at Madueke and all sorts of appalling things at him to let the ball go. And one of the things I said was, this is not a fucking under-10s game. Because that's the kind of thing you see in an under-10s game. This is supposed to be elite football. There's supposed to be discipline. And what they did there, I mean, the first thought I had was that they are completely undermining Palmer here and putting him off potentially. He was already limping around because he'd just been clattered in the penalty area. And now they're adding to it by squabbling about who should take the penalty. Both Jackson and Madueke here. Madueke primarily for me. I think most of the finger of blame has to go to him. Utterly petulant, flouncing away when he didn't get when he got pushed off the ball. Fair play to Gallagher for coming in and actually doing what a fucking captain should do and sort it out and being physical with them. Push them away. Get the fuck out. Well. That's exactly what he should have done.
I think even like a kid, Madueke, because he thought he was the one who got the penalty. That's
where does it say in the rules that if I get fouled, it's my penalty?
I know, but he's done that before, if you remember. He's done it before. But whereas in actual fact, the reality, and I'd like to give a moment's ref watch here. Tierney, who I've always been unbelievably critical of,
thought he had a good game.
Actually plays advantage, and he played advantage then because he knew that Palmer had been kicked up, and he waited to see if Madueke would score, and then he gave the penalty, knowing that would then happen back in VAR anyway. So he wanted to see, but Madueke, the Tarkowski challenge on Madueke was absolutely fair. And that's why Tarkowski was so confused, because he went up to the ref and said, "It wasn't me. Surely I just played the ball."
It's not hard to confuse Tarkowski. Let's be fair.
No, let's be fair. But it was a decent challenge.
Put him in a barrel and ask him to pee in the corner.
To think we almost bought him.
I know.
Hey, but I think we'd have made him into a decent player, actually. Mind you, if he'd been playing with Desazi, he wouldn't be a decent player, would he? Or Barry Shield. Anyway, but yeah, I think so. Yes, and then he did another earlier on. He'd done another advantage, and so I thought, yes, he had a very decent game. And the fact that he's actually thinking about playing advantage puts him in a completely different league of referee, because that's applying the laws properly, and I like that immensely. And so he's gone up hugely in my estimation. I was worried he was a bit of a strutting, one of the strutters who, I'm the boss, you need to pay attention to me. But I felt he was, I realized as well, he was having little conversations with people about what was going on and chatting to them in an encouraging way. And I actually thought, well, yeah, that's the best I've seen you be a ref. And also I perhaps misjudged you. So, I was intrigued. Let's because he's done VAR a few times and I've not agreed with him at all. But the jury is out now. But I think he's one of the better ones. So, but yeah. So he'd seen Palmer be trod on, and that's the penalty. That's what he gave for the penalty. As you say, Palmer just was cool personified, because he is, and just stood there waiting for all of it to blow over, because he knew he was taking the penalty. But it was like almost if because he was injured, Madueke was trying to take advantage of the fact that he was lying down in the corner. I felt as well.
But I think maybe this is half the problem. I mean, you could take the view, as some have on here. There we go. I think it was it David? Yeah, there you go. David, the lovely David Flotzer. I mean, you could say they were just being kids, la 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 la, and you could say it's Poch's fault because as we were led to believe, he was allowing them to decide themselves who takes the penalty. I don't know. Maybe Poch just said that in the press to shut people up. And I mean, I cannot believe that a manager would not, not have a designated penalty taker in the team, and B, that it wouldn't be Cole Palmer, who just doesn't look like he's ever going to miss. I mean, he's up there with Hazard and Jorginho for me in terms of, and Graham Roberts, dare I say it, in terms of penalty taking for this club. So I cannot believe that a manager would not have him as the designated penalty taker. So my feeling is that Poch basically, blindsided the media by saying that, it's like they decided among themselves, So if that's the case, then it's even worse from Madueke and Jackson. And for me, the biggest thing that pissed me off is that it was utterly petulant, utterly selfish, utterly against the spirit of the team, completely unprofessional, and hugely ill-disciplined, Clayton.
Okay, so I've got a couple of comments I want to make. The first of which is I don't believe Poch, what he said afterwards. And it's not me having a go at him. I just don't believe him, because if Poch had said that Cole's our designated penalty taker, then why did Madueke get involved? That's point number one. So it's on Poch because it's the third time it happened in a game that players are trying to wrestle the ball off. So that's point number one. Point number two, and this is not a Poch attack, but I have absolutely no idea, because the penalty made it 5-0, why immediately after the penalty he didn't substitute Madueke and Jackson, because humiliate them in front of the crowd, because that was completely and unacceptable. This is a team game and it's all about the team. It's not about you. I would question whether Jackson was actually wrestling the ball to take the penalty himself or wrestling the ball to give it back to Madueke. I'm not 100% sure about that. But
can I just butt in there, because then there's the incident where afterwards Chilwell screamed at Jackson because he was mincing around on the left when he should have been in the box, and he didn't seem to give a shit.
Right. Okay. One other thing which I heard today on a podcast, which I actually thought
there are other podcasts, Clayton,
could potentially have been the reason for the insanity, is that we know that a lot of these young players have come in on a lesser salary, and it's in that, they've got links, they've got bonuses, and the bonuses you would imagine were also would be linked to goal scoring. So whether that has had something to do with that lunacy, I've got no idea, but it bloody shouldn't. And I can't believe, well, I can believe anything of our owners, but that's another thing which needs to be taken into account. And one final thing, I heard somebody say, I can't remember, I think it might have been Keown or somebody said, oh, it's interesting that they're both fighting over the ball to take the penalty when you're 4-0 up. Where were they against Man United? And as JK's video proved, Madueke did the same bloody thing against Manchester United. So, yeah, I mean, it's just completely unacceptable. And I really do. Yeah, I think for me, I was screaming for Poch to take him off, because I just thought, you can't do that.
Greg Gardner here has said Madueke was taken off a few minutes later. Well, Greg, the reason he was taken off is because he lay on the ground with cramp, and that's why he was taken off. It had nothing to do with the penalty.
And got a very good reception.
He got a good reception, yeah. But he played.
He got a really good reception when he went off.
Considering you're not fond of him as a player, he did a bit better. I think one of the things he does, he takes people on and is tricky.
He creates mayhem.
He does. I'm about to say creates absolute mayhem.
But one of my criticisms, easy for me to say that, of him is that he's young and he will learn this. If he's coached properly, he will learn it. Is his distribution is not great. He doesn't know when to let the ball go.
Who are we talking about?
Madueke. In my opinion, he's basically, his final ball is either he's selfish because he takes it on, or he delays his pass and he tries to do too much. And I think, part of this, and it might be part of the penalty thing, is he wants to impress. He wants to be in that team. So, on the one hand, I can criticize him. I still can't say that, can I? And maybe that's part of it, but I've never ever seen. I can't remember. I mean, people on Mixler, I can't remember the last time people have fought over taking a penalty.
Well, Drogba and Lampard did it, didn't they, against Wigan when we won 8-0? Because Drogba was after the Golden Boot, and Frank was the penalty taker.
I actually wrote about that in my article for CFC UK, because it was on the back of the Leicester, and I wrote about Raheem Sterling and him taking the ball, etc. So you're quite right. So apart from that, I can't remember, but
it's all rather bizarre. Anyway, look, let's just wash over it. I hope that what this has done, it's kind of brought it to a head. So, in a sense, it won't happen again. And I really do. I mean, in spite of what you were saying, Clayton, I really do hope that Poch has got into them in the dressing room afterwards and said, guys, this is a team game and don't fuck about. Otherwise, there'll be trouble. Because I certainly would have been saying something along those lines, possibly sterner. Now, JK.
In the presser, he actually says he thought it was actually quite a good thing.
Yeah, it may prove to be.
Because he said it shows that they're showing fight and desire, he said in the press conference about squabbling over the penalty. So, he thinks it's the desire to win, the desire to score. So he said you could look at that angle of it.
Yeah,
so, but we'll get to the presser. So.
Who can say? We will indeed, actually, rather soon. Actually, I mean, I'm going to ask this, and I really don't know why I am. And I've kind of said that. Can they kick on from this? And are we daft asking it, JK?
We're daft asking it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought. Really, it's on pointless fucking questions. That has to be the number one of one, really, doesn't it, Clayton?
When was the last time we had a turning point? I can't remember. Was it before the Burnley game or after the Burnley game? I can't remember the last turning point that we had. But no, they're too inconsistent. They're very young. Let's get the season over with.
I agree. Look, just to wrap this little part up, I just want to say what a fabulous time I had before the match, because I bumped into Steve Osborne, father of Tate, as we know, also known as Thiago Silva, and his lovely wife Chetna, and his other son Reed, who has a remarkable similarity to Gary Speed, we decided, in his younger days, whereas his other son looks like Thiago Silva. He's breeding an entire family of football lookalikes. It's quite remarkable. But it was lovely to see him in the cock before. And as luck and serendipity would have it, they were all sitting in the same row as me, but two seats down, sitting next to the lovely John Gordon. Me and Tony got to see Justin Dixon from Austin, Texas, who was over with his wife, Alison, and it was lovely to see him. And the absolute highlight, the cream on top, was seeing the lovely Daniel Joano, if you remember him, JK.
Absolutely.
And Oscar. And they were, Daniel and Oscar were over from Sweden with their family and their young kids as well, and they were all going to I don't think it was their first games, but not far away. So it was a lovely crowd in the cock. It was lovely to see them. And at half time, I kind of made a beeline for Gate 8 in the Matthew Harding Upper, basically to give Dane his T-shirt. And I bumped into loads of people on the way there, including the lovely Stu from Hastings, who I haven't seen for ages, and And Dazza Mantle's father, Graham, I had a nice chat with him. So what a lovely, it was just a wonderful evening before, during, and after. Now, one other thing I wanted to say, there were some guys who were behind me who were making a racket for the entire game. And basically they were betting in game. And one guy behind me, he had a bet. I could hear every word they were saying. And he had a bet on Cole Palmer to score a hat-trick inside 30 minutes and Chelsea to be 4-0 up at half-time. He won 750 quid. Amazing. Absolutely.
What are the chances of that happening, eh?
Well, I don't know, mate. It was just, I don't know. But whatever it was, he won a lot of money. So fair play him. Righty-ho. Now, after this little break, we will be back. Sadly, I should say, actually, before we go, sadly, no opposition view tonight because the lovely David Walker was very unwell at the Madrid game. So is unable to come and join us tonight. So I don't know. I mean, if I was David, I certainly wouldn't be listening to this unless I was on it. But on the off chance that he is, we'd like to send you massive love from us lot and all the people who listen to the show.
Wish him well.
He's one of our favourite guests, and he's probably because of a quirk of fate that we've played City so much recently that that he is. I mean, he's probably been on more than anybody else, I would have thought, actually. So, David, I really hope you are well. Rest up, get yourself well, and we'll hopefully see you again very soon. All right? So, there you go. We will be back soon.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to Chidge and the boys on the Chelsea Football Fancast. Total nutters and proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the Chelsea Fancast. I am, of course, Stamford Chidge, and I am joined by the wonderful Jonathan Kydd.
Hey up.
Hey up, lad. And the equally lovely Clayton Beerman.
Evening.
Good to see you both. Now, a very quick plug. Actually, Clayton just mentioned this fantastic thing a minute ago. There you go. The old CFC UK fanzine in April without me because I got mine in too late. So I'm afraid I am not in it. But that should make it far more readable, basically. Now, if you want to... Actually, this is a good time to subscribe for next season, really. And if you do... it means you'll get every issue posted to you. And you pay 20 quid for that if you're in the UK, 45 quid if you are in Europe, and 60 quid if you are in the rest of the world. Alternatively, you can get a kind of a PDF version sent to you. That's 6 quid a year or a quid each. You can pay all of this via PayPal. And you do that to fanzine@cfcuk.net. Of course, you can go old school and pick it up from the stool, as those who are lucky enough to go to the matches do. Now, the other thing that we are very fond of plugging, of course, is the Chelsea pitch owners. There we go. There's a lovely, fine example of a Chelsea pitch owners share. That one signed by Sir Frank of Lampard. Now, if you want to get yourself a CPO share, it's very, very simple. You go to the Chelsea website, chelseafc.com, and search for Chelsea pitch owners. They are also on, all the social media at pitch owners. And I think it's comms@chelseapitchowners.com or .uk, or maybe I shouldn't say it if I don't know it. That would be sensible, but they're not hard to find. And 110 quid for an electronic share, 173 quid for a frame share signed by a Chelsea player. And of course, what it does, it gives you a say. You have a voice because it means you will own a part of Chelsea, part of the stadium, part of the pitch. Which means that nobody can remove Chelsea from playing there, the spiritual home of the club, unless the shareholders are in agreement. It's a democratic process. You need over 75% of the vote to agree to do whatever it is you want to do, whether it be move, relocate temporarily or permanently or whatever. But either way, you get a say. You get skin in the game. And I think that's a very good thing. And we are the only club who has that ability. Isn't that lovely? Right. It is now time, of course, for us to preview the Chelsea versus Man City FA Cup semi-final. I'm a little bit excited about this, but not quite as excited about the fact it's JK's presser coming up.
It's me, the presser.
Yeah, you have a sting. You have a sting, remember? See, there you go.
Thank you.
Ready?
That was great. That was great. Absolutely. Aha! Here we go. Good. It was interesting. He was quite in a good mood, young Poch.
What was he really?
Yeah, he seemed to be quite up, and he had a bit of banter before with somebody coming across that was slightly unintelligible. But Gail from Sky Sports appeared to be allowed to ask about 9 questions at the beginning.
Why was that?
It was. Who knows? But she just kept asking, and she asked the longest question in the world. She first of all said, "Don't want you to get cross and start shouting at me." And Poch went, "Ha ha 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 ha," and very few other people laughed, so it was a bit stupid. But she said, "But after the other night, a very good performance was overshadowed by that incident. Now there is calm. Have you had a discussion with those players? Did you have to sense that they knew they'd done wrong, or had they taken it on board and learnt from it?" And I wouldn't have surprised me if he'd said pardon, but he didn't. He was saying, he said, "We was talking a lot after Monday. We were practicing penalties, and are they expecting a draw after 120 minutes? I'm intrigued. We were practicing penalties. We met our meeting after the games. We had Paul and Lawrence there, the sporting directors. I can only ask the question, why? Why did they bring along the sporting directors to the meeting? Really? Yes, to discuss the with the penalties. And the message was clear. Now we need to move on. But he said it positive. It's good if players want the responsibility of taking penalties. Shows the character of the players. But then he's added, just to normally sit on the fence, which he does, but they need to respect the rules. They need to learn. All is clear. Well, it's clear as mud.
Alles clear.
Indeed. The game will be difficult. And he said something which he then repeated, which I find slightly confusing. It's a semi-final, but a final, because it's all final. Yes, Poch. Yes.
Well, because if you don't win it, you're knocked out.
Indeed. But so it's a kind of final within the final. But
I think it's possibly because he knows it'll be our final match in the competition.
Yeah. Clayton's gone. I understand.
Had enough, mate.
Yeah, he's had enough.
It's not working for him.
It's not working for Clayton, and he knows that he doesn't. He knows he's not going to be saying much, and he can join in and ask me. Clayton.
You can interrupt him. It's really fun to interrupt him.
You're allowed.
Just putting my top on because I'm a bit nippy.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit cold.
You are allowed to. You are allowed to question me if you like. You can.
I wasn't going to question you because before the show, I watched about 15 minutes of it, and it was you're right. He was in a very good mood. Yes. It was quite interesting because we didn't mention it earlier on, but there was a scurrilous rumor that the reason why he stormed out of the press conference was because of Matt Law of the Telegraph, and it was Spy, wasn't it? It was Spy. It was Spy causing trouble because he just doesn't like anything to do with Chelsea now because he's not there anymore. So but to be fair to him, he does ask the questions. He asks very pertinent questions.
None of the others do. You're absolutely
like the
right.
Athletic. They actually ask proper questions.
Yes.
Anyway, carry on.
And he was asked for the Gail from Sky Sports said penalties question mark, and he said yes, we are ready, because she asked again, having ignored the fact that he'd already mentioned they've been practicing penalties. She then asked Cole Palmer, level with Haaland, did you expect his goal scoring? And he actually said it's the teammates who provide the opportunity. Ooh. Exactly. He's performing higher than our expectation. Need to be careful. He's growing, needs to evolve far away from what we expected. Is he so cool? Point to prove versus City. He's already played, Poch said, already played them twice. He's very grateful to Pep. Wanted to prove himself at another club. Not keen to prove something against another club. He said it's not necessary. So he dismissed that. She then said, no FA Cup replays. Are you pleased? Does this mean you'll miss the winter break, though? And he said that thing where you know what he wants to say here. He doesn't want to answer this. And what he wants to say is because he said, look. And then there was an enormous pause where you're thinking, oh, fuck, what's it going to be, Poch? And I thought it's either going to be, whoops, I don't know. not going to answer, haven't a clue, or will sit on the fence. And guess which one it was? Will sit on the fence. It was that one. I am the coach, he said. I have coached at lower levels. I understand the frustration of different clubs over replays, experience, incomes. But I'm on the side of big sides in Europe. Not fair for both sides. It's not easy for everyone to be happy. Yes, he sat on the fence. And then we're asked, and then she said, Palmer, where can he evolve and end up? And I thought, fucking hell, she just
Real Madrid.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was thinking that exactly. Real Madrid after 2 years. And but she'd already asked that, so no way asked the same question. It's about the demands, and he actually said it's about the demands of his private life.
Ooh.
Before he didn't I can't read my own writing. But he needs rest and sleep. But be careful. We have to expect to manage him because he's becoming a big star. So I reckon he's a bit of a goer. He's a bit of a disco boy, a bit of a disco freak. He said his life has changed. He said, "Oh, interesting."
Well,
yeah.
I mean, to be non-sexual about it for a minute, he is going to be in the spotlight more. He's going to get a lot more attention from the press and everything. Suddenly, I mean, you discount everything that's happened to this club in the last couple of years. We're still a fucking big club. We're still an elite European club. So we attract attention. So suddenly this guy's, I mean, not completely come out of nowhere, but effectively come out of nowhere and is tearing up the league this year with his performances and his goals. So he's the next star. And you know what the media are like? They like nothing more than to find the next star off the production line.
And if they don't do well, pull them down.
No doubt. Find a scandal about him, set him up, shake him, all that kind of stuff.
Anyway,
so they do have to look after him.
Yes. So let's hope that he seems to be very good at that. He did a very strange thing at the end of the game. There was a black guy who was one of the coaches at Everton, who everybody went up to and embraced and had really long conversations with. And I can't remember who it was. Any ideas who it might be? The guy, one of the coaches.
Can't see from where I am.
Poch really.
It wasn't Ashley Cole, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, but Poch grabbed him and patted his face, and he does that thing when he's so affectionate and put his arm round, and almost kissed him, and massaged his head. He seriously did. You're right, and did that. And
I'll do that to you next time I see you.
I'd love it.
I will.
Absolutely love it.
Give you a good face rub.
I've been asked, by the way, why am I wearing a teenage hat? And
Tramp is in.
Because what happened was, to tell this story very quickly, was I went to an exhibition of a friend of mine's had cancer, and during the period she had cancer, she drew some rather lovely pictures, and there were about 30 of them, and drawings and prints, and she had a little exhibition. And I turned up, and my theatrical agent was there, and he went, "Oh my God," he's a bit like that. "Oh my God, I didn't recognize you. I didn't look at you. Oh my goodness me. Have some pictures done immediately. Tramp is in," he said. And so I'm very pleased to keep it going by wearing a young person's hat to maintain the Tramp image. And I've just had a bath, and the hair it's a bit cold, just don't want to catch cold. Anyway, where am I? Yes. She was really non-stop asking questions. I kept thinking, is anybody else going to ask any questions? This Gail from Sky. Liverpool was are you better placed, prepared? Could be, he says. Well, that's good to know. Already know we could help to approach the game in a different way. Well, yeah, one would hope so if you've been to Wembley. City on a defeat. Can you take advantage of the defeat? 120 minutes, he says. Massive, emotional, tough for them. But then he says, once again, he always gives both sides, doesn't he, Poch? But they have an unbelievable squad. Great team under Pep's philosophy. Use the word philosophy. I was taken aback. A challenge for us. Fantastic football team. One of the best teams in the world. So therefore, he's making an excuse if we lose. And then somebody else came in and said, good energy. Is it about your lemons? And in your book, he said, you mentioned it. In your book, you mentioned
sorry,
it.
Wrong. Ooh.
Yeah, and he said, he went, I need to update the book. We got a bit of a laugh, I suppose. Poch, you split my sides, I've written here. And she then said, do you still have lemons in your office? Get rid of bad energy.
JK.
Yes.
Didn't anybody ask him, but do you have lemons in the team on the pitch?
Well, I was about to say, I was going to, you've ruined my gag, actually. I was going to say, the only lemon was him, I was going to say.
Great minds. Oh, slightly different. I was inferring that the players are all lemons.
The players rather than him, yeah. But he put, do you still have the lemons? Yes, I do. Ha, ha, ha. And he then said, I don't know why. What the fuck have you got them there for? And he put, they make me feel comfortable. My office is like my home. And I've written here, not that you are a lemon, Poch. But anyway, and this chap said, rituals for big games. No, all are big games. Most important action in football is the next one. Ooh, Poch. Oh, dear. Simon Johnson, last visit to Wembley, bottle job billionaires you got referred to. Are they fired up to make it different this time? And he doesn't answer the question. He just waffles around it. He waffles around it. We hope we can win, but I'm not giving this. I'm not thinking that. I hope. My dream is to lift a trophy there, and ours that you fucking lift a trophy there. Jesus Christ. We are thinking and focusing to win the game, to go through to the final. Yes, what a obvious statement. Jesus God, didn't answer the question at all. If you go through to the final, have you talked to the players about how they can handle it better than versus Liverpool? He's persistent. He wouldn't let it go. It's a question, surely, for if they win it. He says, be honest. It's a different game, it's a different club. Players and staff need to react in a new way. The best experience was already played. It must be a good thing. Okay. And then he repeated, it's a semi-final, but a final. Because if we win, we go to the final at Wembley. No shit. Yeah. Then he was asked about Nkunku. Why? Simon Johnson asked the last question of all was about Nkunku. Is he back? And he then said he's partially training. They assess, may be involved in training. So there's a training before training. But we need to see his reaction would be like before we put him finally in the final training. That's very complicated, but basically I think the answer is, then he said, to see if he'll be available for the rest of the season. Okay, we get it. He won't be available for the rest of the season.
Currently undergoing rehabilitation.
Indeed. And that was that. So I don't know why the Nkunku was out. No idea about any of the players when any of the players are injured. No idea about anything other than.
Of course. Why would we want to learn something interesting like that? Yeah,
exactly. Why did none of the journalists ask anybody injured who's going to play the weekend?
It's not as if I've got a fucking team lineup to select, guys. For God's sake,
come on.
Consideration.
Be the first question to ask. Any injuries?
Chidge needs to know so he can do his lineup.
Absolutely right.
I'm going to phone up like Simon Johnson and tell him that. Oi. Sort it out, Johnson.
Yeah, I think you should, Chidge.
I know Simon. Simon's a mate. Yeah. I should bloody say, oi, know. Anyway, there we go. That was brilliant. JK's presser summary. JK watches the pressers so we don't have to. Yeah, that's why we love him. Now, it's your favourite time of the week, JK. I've just given it a slight plug. It is. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Finished? Oh, no, that's not that other favourite
time. No. The show's not finished. I'm hurt by that comment.
It's a joke. It's a gag.
It was not funny.
Is it your selection, Chidge?
There we go.
Hey!
Right. Let me go through this very simply. I'll give you a big clue. It's the same team that we had against Everton. So it is Cucurella, who I thought had a reasonable game again, and I still think that Chilwell's not quite back to his best. Cucurella, Silva, Petrovic, Chalobah, Gusto. Gallagher and Caicedo. I think it worked. And you know what I said on last Friday? I said the other reason why, I thought Enzo wasn't going to play because he's struggling with injury, etc., etc. I said putting Gallagher there allows Palmer to play in the number 10 role where I feel he may be at his best position. And he scored 4 goals and controlled the game and was brilliant. And it also allowed us to play Madueke and Mudryk together, who, for all of their flaws and faults, can scare the shit out of a defence when they run at them. And it means we didn't have to pick Sterling, which I think is an absolute bonus. And Jackson, you know what you're going to get from him by the fact that you don't know what you're going to get from him, but he was all right. He helped in the build-up. He helped to hold things up, and he scored a goal. So, apart from his petulance on the penalty, I thought he did all right. So I don't see any reason to change that side unless somebody's injured at all. But I tell you what, I can see Poch doing. I can see him possibly bringing in Dizazi because Haaland's a unit. I can see him playing Chilwell instead of Cucurella, and I can see him dumping Mudryk or Madueke for Sterling, and Enzo coming in and Gallagher going up and Palmer being on the wing. So I wouldn't do it. I mean, they've just won 6-0. We've said already, this is a confidence side. If their confidence isn't the best it's been all season after putting 6 past Everton, then what's the fucking point of being a manager? I rest my case, JK.
Well, I think you've given all the alternatives I'd have given, so I think I have nothing to say.
I cannot believe that for a second.
Well, what you've said was absolutely correct.
Wow.
He should play the team that won 6-0.
Yeah.
He's likely to want to come up with something. I mean, as I think has been stated on here, Elliot Sherman and Mudryk and Cucurella left side gets eaten alive by City. There is an element of that, but I'm not sure that putting Chilwell in there makes any difference.
I agree.
At the way Chilwell's playing at the moment,
and you've got a disciplined Gallagher to cover.
Yeah.
Basically, haven't you?
But it's absolutely obvious to me that he should play Silva and Chalobah. But as you say, you may think I need a bit more oomph to deal with Haaland, so he'll play Dizazi. But I hope not. Yeah. And also, absolutely, Sterling should really not start. No, I mean, I hoped after this 6-0 that this is the team for the rest of the season. Actually, for me, I was hoping that they should try and run it like this, but also politically, you don't know what the state of Enzo would be if he didn't play. I don't know whether he'd accept that.
Well, I mean look,
have to accept it, but
from what I understand, Enzo needs a hernia op.
Oh, really?
Right. He's been having injections and he's been playing through injury effectively. So it worked. Why not allow him to have the operation he needs? I mean, of course, the downside of that is clearly Poch rates Enzo highly, which is fair enough. So, we've got important games coming up. We still need to try and finish 6th. We still need to try and win an FA Cup. So if you're the coach, you're going to say, mate, wait until the summer and see what you can play through. We'll give you a rest when we can. I wouldn't lambast Poch for that. I think any manager would. Clayton, what do you think, old bean, of my wonderful non-selection? Because basically all I had to do this week is change Everton to Man City on my graphic.
He won't play both Mudryk and Madueke. Enzo will come in for one of the two of them. I think that he will play Dizazi, but who he drops, I think he'll probably drop Silva. Because Chalobah's more mobile than Silva. But the thing is with Silva is that we play deeper when he's playing, and we will be deep for a lot of the game tomorrow. So yeah, I mean that Enzo will definitely play. I think Enzo will have his operation if we lose tomorrow. I think they'll just call it a day as far as the season's concerned for him. The other thing about Enzo disappearing for an operation is that we are threadbare in midfield. But again, if we have very little to play for, he shouldn't really be scared about playing Chucky. I don't know how fit he is. I don't think you will see Chilwell start tomorrow, because the thing about Wembley is you need to be incredibly fit. And I would say that Chile is not anywhere near fit. I think he's getting back to fitness, but he's not got 120 minutes in him. So, should it come to that. So, yeah, I think a lot of it is dictated by availability.
Interesting. I reminded myself remarkably, because I've got a memory like a sieve, but there are some very interesting aerial duels stats from the PL this season from SofaScore, which are, I don't know how to take these, because I do take stats with a dose of salt. Badiashile, 55% win ratio, 1.9 duels won per game. Dizazi 69%, 2.6 joules won per game. Silva 70%, 1.8. Chalobah 35%, 1.3 per game. Colwell 69%, 1.9. Chilwell 44%, 0.9. Cucurella 61%, 1.2. Gusto 31%, 0.3. James 64%, 0.9. I mean, I don't really know what they mean, because that's the thing with statistics. Context is everything. But on a percentage level, if the percentage relates to the number of joules that they win in the game, I'm surprised that Chalobah's are so low. But it might be due to the fact that he hasn't played many games. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it, but I just thought it was interesting. I don't know who wants to pick that one up, if they can make some sense out of it.
Sorry, so this is joules. What, just generally?
Aerial joules, so challenging for the ball in the air.
I think it's a sort of it's an interesting statistic, but you actually have to, if you look at the Premier League these days, how many, apart from sort of Sheffield United, how many teams actually go aerial?
There's the context that we need. And I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Silva, who's the smallest, apart from possibly Gusto. I mean, Gusto, I can understand why it's 31%, because he's he's a right back. Chilwell equally, he's a left back. Silva 70%. He's obviously a central defender, but he's also short. Chalobah, I'm surprised about. That's an anomaly. I mean, again, Badia Shield, maybe he hasn't played enough games, but that's quite low for somebody who's supposed to be a unit. And actually, what it tells us is that Dizazi, who's got the highest, number of joules won per game, comes out of that looking quite well, which would make sense, because we do say this a lot. He is a unit. So there we go. I don't know what it says. I just thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd just grab it. But there we go. I mean, there are lies, damn lies, and then, Clayton, there are statistics, aren't there?
Indeed.
I just find it peculiar in that it doesn't say how slow people are on the ball or whether their choices they make are so poor. It's just telling you about winning headers, So that's a kind of sort of, it's talking about a particular skill they've got, but doesn't bring in the other aspects that they're not actually terribly good at.
I mean, the thing is with Silva, maybe Silva is so high is because his anticipation is so much better. So he knows where to be, rather than sort of a 50-50 free-for-all in the box.
Yeah, that's very good. This is an interesting point, which I may well return to. Okay, I'll do it now. Leon Duke says, I'd be surprised to see Ederson, Walker, Stones, De Bruyne or Haaland start tomorrow. If Haaland has a chance of starting, I don't think Poch starts Silva. It's an interesting point, which actually segues us beautifully. Thanks, Leon. Segues us beautifully into talking about what we think about the match. My first thought really is, we got absolutely duffed up by them, didn't we, in the first round of the FA Cup last year? 4-0, I think it was, wasn't it? We got schooled big time. And, of course, I think we lost in the League Cup with them as well, against them as well, should I say. There we go, 2023.
There was some dreadful tactical errors, though, by Potter in that. And the selection, of course, was bizarre. And we lost. There was a free kick taken earlier on. I think Mahrez scored it, didn't he? Where the wall wasn't set up properly. We were just standing behind. We were behind it, and I'm thinking, well, he's going to score, obviously, because you haven't. They're not jumping properly. It was just, and he played. I remember we had a bit of a spat, Clayton, over the fullback, the centre half he played, who just passed the ball backwards all the time. And
he didn't pass the ball backwards all the time, but I know who you're talking about, and he's currently on loan at Swansea, and I can't remember the guy's name. That was the FA Cup game, but if you remember the League Cup game,
that was 2-0.
That was 2-0, and Lewis Hall missed 3 1-on-1s in that game, and we split them open several times, and we actually played relatively well in that game. In the FA Cup game, I think it was just a white flag before we kicked a ball. The team selection just said, "Yeah, thanks very much, thanks for having us." So I from memory, we didn't even really compete in that game. But
we got schooled.
We did. We did, but the two games that we played in this season.
Well, exactly. I was going to ask. Well, I'll ask you now. Can I ask you now? What are the differences from when we met last year? Played against them last year, then.
Well, I think the thing is that they're an infinitely better side than us, and I think that last year the side was packed with a lot of old pros who thought we're not going to win here, and probably projected that as much. As I said, the League Cup game, I thought we were relatively unlucky because of what we did. It's questionable whether the players played for Potter. I don't know. I can't remember the precise nature of the games. I think we've got a young side who've got less fear, to be perfectly honest.
They don't know what they don't know.
Whether that's down to stupidity or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we were terrific against them at home. Really, really good. I mean, we
weren't bad up there.
And well,
coming away with a 1-1 draw
at home, we just wouldn't lie down.
No.
Which was great. And up there, you think Rodri has scored 2 goals against us in both games, and both goals were deflected.
Yeah.
So whatever Poch is, for whatever my personal opinion of Poch is, the one thing that he has done is he has instilled something in that team that they don't know that they're beaten, because we have come back quite a lot, and there is a spirit in that side, which is engendered, and they do fight for each other.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the major difference.
Yeah. But JK, what do you think?
I think the same as Clayton. I think as well. I think Enzo, if he's fit, well, even if he's not fit, I think he'll be picked just because he has that very competitive mentality. Any man who can swear at Mason Mount and call him a bastardo, whatever he called him, I think is commendable. I mean, not what he said, but commendable. The fact that he was so willing to maintain that level of energy all the way to the end of the game after we'd beaten them. That was the other turning point, wasn't it, Clayton? The Man United game. That was the other one, the most recent.
Oh, right, yes, of course. Everton, the turning point until we played the mighty Chef U. Conceder of how many? I heard today that they are basically, was it 4 or 5 goals away from breaking the record of making in the most goals in the Premier League.
Yes.
They will indeed. I mean, the other thing, of course, to consider, they have got a few injuries. I mean, what Liam was saying is interesting, and Pop has a habit of picking a duff team, on occasion. I mean, the Champions League final being the most classic example of that. And of course, talking of the Champions League, they got rumbled out of it by a very, guileful Real Madrid side, which they weren't really expecting. I thought Real Madrid were fantastic in the fact that they I think they got it dead right in a way. They didn't leave themselves open at all. They didn't over attack. It was a mature, wily old performance, JK, and it went to penalties. And oh man, Kovacic screwed it up, which made me laugh my cock off. And Rudiger stuck the winning one away, which also made me laugh my cock off. But I wonder what the fallout for City will be, because in a sense it could go either one of two ways. It could either be it'll be hard for them to pick themselves up after that, or they'll be really angry and take it out on us on Saturday. And I really don't know which it's going to be.
Well, I think it's likely that he'll not pick half the team that played during the week, but he'll give those who haven't played an opportunity to gain any revenge that there would be. And then if it's not going right, he'll bring them back. He'll bring De Bruyne and the others who aren't injured. Those who aren't injured, he'll bring them on as the game goes on. I thought Madrid were phenomenal in their defence, and I actually thought it was a bit like Porto, in fact. In that we got the goal and then tied them up. And I think they only had one other shot, didn't they, for the whole of the 120 minutes after their goal. So the goal was the worst thing to have given away, because it just gave him an opportunity to play like that. But he is a wily old fox, Ancelotti, because you never thought that they would play like that. You never thought that they would defend essentially for 110 minutes, which is all they did, and they defended wonderfully.
Yeah,
and I think he obviously thought they're the best team in the world. City are the best team in the world. He's got wonderful players, a wonderful manager. They get players in who play out of their skin, or he improves them. He is the perfect manager. They get great top players in because they have a better scouting setup than nearly anybody else, which makes you think, what on earth of the supposed the terrible twins, the dynamic duo,
the Brains Trust,
for Winstanley. They get great players in who want to play for City, of course, because it's that maintains the momentum, because they want to play for the best team in the world, and he makes them into better players than they were, and they were pretty good before. I think the very fact that, Doku looks a fantastic player, and he looked
shit at the beginning of the season.
He did, and he's just got better and better, and he's Cole Palmer's replacement, really, isn't he? And
I thought that was Oscar Bob.
Was it Bob as well? No, I think Bob doesn't get in. I suppose Palmer wouldn't get in, and that's the reason
why. I desperately want to call him Oscar too, Bob, but I don't think he is.
No, I don't think. I think he's more of a shilling, isn't he, Chidge?
Oh, very good.
2 shillings, I'd say. I'm sorry. Yeah, one Bob. Yeah, a Bob. No, they're a great team, and they'll need an off day. We'll need to play out of our skins, which we did in the 4-4 and the 1-1.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility, but one needs to. I don't think it'd be the worst. I just don't think we'll win. I don't think we'll win it.
Don't shoot your bolt too quickly. Don't shoot your bolt too quickly. Plenty of time for this.
No, plenty of time for that. Yeah. But
I don't want any premature ejaculations on this show.
I'm a bit gloomy about it, Chidge.
I know you are. Bless you. We're going to try and cheer you up. All right. I think I don't know. As I said, Clayton, it could go either way. I think Pep does have this habit of picking what we could probably call a weakened side, so that might come into effect. I don't know. Who knows? They play. Those that play will have got 120 minutes of a very tough game in their legs, which I think is good for us. Of course, if they play, which they may not.
Well, I think the 2 guys who won't start will be Haaland and De Bruyne, both of whom apparently came off because they were knackered. De Bruyne, obviously, people forget, was out for about 6 months, so his fitness will be up to a point. Haaland's just, I don't know, Haaland is having a second album season, isn't it? He's not really where he was.
It's not definitely maybe.
Yeah, he'll basically score 7 tomorrow.
No,
but he's not been what he was last season, which is quite good for us. So I don't think those 2 will start, but they have got just such an amazing squad. They're like we were back in the early days of Abramovich. You used to look at our bench and go, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
and they've done it. City have done everything that we should have done. That, we had the same opportunity and the same money behind us. Obviously, not sovereign state money, but they don't go out and splash the cash like we did, like the supermarket sweep when Roman first bought the club. They've gone about it brilliantly, and I'm sort of, part of me is very jealous that they have done what we should have done. Yeah. They've stuck with a manager. They had a couple of managers to start off with, did okay with Pellegrino Mancini, and, then got in the best manager in the world. And they've stuck with him. And that's what we should have done in hindsight. That's what we should have done. But we didn't, and we are where we are. So that they are the best team out there. But this season, they haven't beaten us. They haven't beaten Arsenal. They've lost a few games. They're not. I don't think they're as good as they were last season, but it's a very, very high bar. I think the
other thing is that they've got, it's definitely advantage City now in the league, thanks to Arsenal and Liverpool screwing up last weekend. So there's an argument to be had saying, well, I wonder if Pep will focus on the league and won't be so bothered by the cup. Who knows? Just going back to what you said about their bench. Our bench on Monday night, Badiashile, Bettinelli, Cassidy, Chilwell, Chukwuemeka. I'm going to do this like a school register. This is much more funny. Badiashile B, Bettinelli M, Cassidy C, Chilwell B, Chukwuemeka C, David Washington, Dyer K. What's Kieran Dyer doing on the bench? When did we sign him? I don't know. That one flew past me. Gilchrist A, Tyreek G. Now, I call me an old git and an alcoholic Yadar, but who are Dyer and Tyreek? Anybody know?
Yeah, Tyreek George, very good. I don't know so much about Dyer, but Tyreek George is excellent. And I was thrilled to see when we were 6-0 up, 10 minutes to go, that it didn't get on.
Yeah, quite.
I mean, yeah, no, he's very good. But I mean, they're all very good until they play in the first team, and then they get, it's like, but yeah, very, very promising. Had the conversation last Friday about Pep paying lip service. And I don't really, my view hasn't changed, because if you can't bring on a kid to make his debut when you're 6-0 up at home, or 5-0 up, because Alfie didn't score till the 90th minute, but you're 5-0 up and you don't think that you can bring on a couple of kids just to sort of give them a run around for 10 minutes. Why are they're on the bench to get a match day experience that they're not going to experience?
Yeah, indeed. Listen, one of the fun things, apart from seeing City get knocked out whenever it was the fact that there's now a chance with all the English teams going out apart from Villa, that the coefficient will be nobbled so that Spurs may miss out on a Champions League place, because we won't get
there's no may about it. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. Germany are too far ahead, and we've got no teams left.
Yeah, got no fans. Well, there we go.
The only team that we've got left in Europe is Aston Villa.
Yeah,
but Germany, I think, have got about 4 teams left.
Well, they've got Dortmund and Bayern, and
Italy, I think, have also got teams left. So
yeah,
it's gone.
Oh, how hilarious!
So what I didn't realise is that this is now happening every year. It's like a competition.
Yeah.
So if you get that 5th spot, it's only for the following season, and then everybody starts again from 0.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
We have to wait till we're back in Europe and show everybody else how to win a European trophy for the coefficient to go back up again.
Winning in Bayern Munich's backyard is not for everybody, Arsenal fans. I tell you what, mate.
Could I just big up Saka's corner in the last minute of the game against Bayern when they desperately needed a perfect corner.
And
he hit the first man.
He did, didn't he?
Yes, it was.
Sign him up, Chelsea. Sign him up. That's what we like.
I just briefly go off the subject and say how completely brilliant Martinez was last night for Villa.
Yes, you can.
One of the top goalkeepers. He is an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper.
Best in the world, I think.
Yeah, and interviews superbly. I mean, quite remarkable.
You should teach Poch how to speak English.
Yeah,
absolutely. It can be done. What was I going to say? I think Bayern are going to win it. I think Tuchel's going to win the Champions League again and then fuck off from Bayern, because he's basically been sacked, hasn't he? He's just there to the end of the season. I can see Tuchel doing that. I think that'd be hilarious. Listen, going back to the game tomorrow, our confidence. We were saying earlier, weren't we, JK, that what we're beginning to realise perhaps about this team, amongst many other things, is that it really is a confidence team, and it's instant. Suddenly they play well, they get 3 goals. They look like world beaters. They lose a goal and they look like a pub team. So that to me is confidence, and it should be high after the Everton match, shouldn't it?
But do you think it's something to do with energy as well, though? Because they, after we'd beaten United, they came out against Burnley and just strolled about, and it's something to do with attitude. Whether they think, oh well, Burnley we didn't have to worry about because they're bottom, or whereas. Everton, I don't know what. Well, Everton, they should have thought, well, we don't have to worry about them. They're below us. But perhaps they were trying to redeem the Sheffield United performance in some way, because they came out with an energy and an ability that I'm having to say Everton were better than us for 10 minutes. It was a kind of level. It was about a level playing field. But you can almost see it in this team it's like coming out after the second half frequently. And Brentford came out after the second half with absolutely no gumption, no desire to play the ball to each other, just a kind of languid performance. And then they scored 2 goals, Brentford, and we go, oh God, we better do something. And suddenly we're back on it again. So I don't think it's necessarily a confidence thing. I think it's an energy thing as well. And he should be in a position to get them to perform at the same level. They did the same in the Carabao Cup final after the 90 minutes. They didn't come out in extra time with any energy at all. Well, that's not a confidence thing. They'd been playing really well and almost scored. It was like an attitude, which I can't put my finger on at all. I don't know how you get them to maintain a level for 90 minutes or even longer, 120 minutes. I mean, perhaps they were all exhausted. Perhaps he said to them, sit back a little bit and wait, and then, let's have the last 10 minutes going for it. But it didn't happen like that at all. We just looked dull and uninterested for the whole of the period of extra time at Wembley. So, but once again, consequently, I don't know what we're going to get. No, so it might go in bursts again. We might start off playing very well, or start off with them very much on the front foot, and then we come back into the game, which is what we did at Tottenham as well. We started off badly when we beat Tottenham 4-1, and then we came back into it. It helped them having 2 players sent off, of course, but it's not the whole of the game that we play with lacking in confidence. It's in spurts. It's like, as I said, it's Jackson being suddenly excellent and then terrible. And we're similarly excellent and terrible, all in the same couple of moves. It's
bizarre,
really,
isn't it?
By the way, just another aspect to bring us on for the Everton game, the thing about Palmer's goal as well was how superbly the ball came out from the back as well, which we didn't mention.
Yeah, I know. We didn't mention this, did we? But they played great football all night. Yeah. First time passing, forward momentum, no passing back, energy. Great movement into spaces up front. I mean, it was like a revelation. It was a joy to watch. Right, I've got some great stats for you here. I know how much you love stats. Right, this is the 6th consecutive season in which City have been in the last 4. They're the first team to ever achieve that. I think. Oh no, hang on, it's us actually. Sorry, we are on an 8-match unbeaten run. No, sorry, it can't be us. City.
We haven't lost since the Carling Cup final.
No, I haven't got to that one. This is City. 8-match unbeaten run in head-to-heads against us. 1-6, drawn 2. We are unbeaten in our last 8 matches across all competitions. 1-5, drawn 3. The last defeat was to Liverpool in the Caribou. We've won 5 consecutive semi-finals in the FA Cup. The last such defeat at this stage coming back in 2013 against Man City, when Aguero stamped on David Luiz and I was on a plane coming back from Dubai, so I missed the whole bloody lot. So I got the timings wrong like a dickhead. But we've lost our last 7 head-to-heads in this competition, including being knocked out last year, as we know. This is bizarre and a bit worrying. Man City have conceded from open play in just 1 of their last 10 FA Cup matches. And this will be Chelsea's 27th appearance in FA Cup semi-finals, the 3rd most in the competition's history. Of course, we don't have any history, so that can't be true. But only Man United and Arsenal on 32 and 30 have got more. And only Man United and Arsenal, 21 each, have reached more finals than Chelsea, and we've reached 16. This is Chelsea's 43rd match at Wembley Stadium, with only Man United playing in more. It's the Blues' 30th since the stadium reopened in 2007, more than any other side in that time. Wembley is our second home. Fuck off Spurs and everybody else. Wembley is our second home. And of course, the best stat of all, I'll leave the best one till last. No, actually, I won't just go in order. We've been eliminated on 5 of the last 6 occasions that we've faced the holders in the FA Cup competition. Of course, City are the holders. And we could reach both the League Cup and FA Cup final in the same season for the 3rd time, previously doing it in 2006-07 when we won both, 21-22 when we lost both. So there we go. And Maurizio Pochettino has been eliminated from 4 of his 8 major semi-finals in his managerial career. Spursy. That's the last stat of any note, really. He lost both of his FA Cup semi-final ties with Tottenham, 2017-2018, and his only semi-final tie against Pep Guardiola in the Champions League in 2021 with PSG. So there we go. So I think a mixed bag of stataroonies there. There's a few other things that I think are worth highlighting. In semi-finals against City, now this is in all cup competitions against them. Now in total games of all sorts, league, you name it, we've won 71 games, drawn 41 and lost 65. So it's fairly even. Cup competitions, we've won 9, drawn 1, lost 8. That draw, I think, was also a defeat because that's the penalties loss in the Carabao Cup, whatever it was then. But in semi-finals, we've won 2, lost 1. In finals, we've won 2, lost 1. So that was the 2013, the 2021 semi-final, FA Cup semi-final. We won 1-0, of course. That was Ziyech, wasn't it? Who scored. Now, the other thing, the other semi-final that we won, JK and Clayton will both remember this. But it was the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1971, where we won 1-0 at home and 1-0 up there. Do you remember that, boys?
I was at the home game. Derek Smethurst scored. I was not at the away game, but we won. They scored an own goal. And they were the holders. And we went on to win it that year.
Yeah, interesting. So there you go. So it's, I think what I'm trying to say in a very kind of circuitous way is that, we've got a chance here. It's 50-50. I think it's a puncher's chance. I don't think we need to worry about the Wembley hoodoo, or do we? I mean, we've lost our last 6 games at Wembley. No, we haven't. That's the point. We've lost our last 6 finals at Wembley. So I don't think we have to worry about this. This is not a final. This is a semi-final. Clearly, if we've lost our last 6 finals, we've won, as it said, most of our semi-finals in that time. So I think, statistically, it's about 50-50, Clayton. So, I'm not convinced that we'll get humped tomorrow. And I was thinking that certainly before the Everton game, but I'm thinking less so now, Clayton.
First off, I basically have frozen. I don't know what's happened there. So
yeah, you did say you were a bit cold.
I did. Very good, very sharp.
It's a nice pose.
I think it's absolutely impossible to call. I would not be surprised if we lost, and I certainly wouldn't be surprised if we won, because it's just what we do. I think it's. I think the odds are on us losing, but you just never know. You just really don't know with this team. It depends on City rather than us. As JK said, we have got to be at our best and they've got to be slightly below. It'll just be an uncomfortable watch, as it always is, if it's close. But yeah, I think if you just cast your mind back to, what was it, 2021, when we beat them 1-0 in that semi-final, I suspect that we went in pretty much the same as we're going in now. I mean, obviously we were higher up in the league under Tommy T, but I suspect we went in there expecting to get beaten, and we didn't. And Pep's a great coach. They're a great team. I suspect both times this year they've underestimated us, and hopefully they will do again tomorrow.
I couldn't agree more. JK, what say you? I mean, you've been gloomy ever since this tie was announced. I know, because you and I do talk occasionally. So what say you?
It's so dependent on what team turns up, and it's so dependent on, whether they have an injury or one of them gets sent off or something. The game turns on something. There's always that, but in terms of the standard of both sides, Palmer needs to play out of his skin. Everybody needs to play out of their skins for this to be a success, as I said earlier. And they need to have possibly 6 players missing, and him not to have as much care about the tie. I still, there's such a wonderful side with such wonderful players that I can only think of the worst of the situation. And yet I thought the same of the 1-1 and the 4-4. So it's completely, I just cannot call it. My fear is that I don't think we'll get battered. I think we'll just lose easily.
How battered?
I said no. I think 2 or 3-0. So I don't hope it's not more, but I can't see it. I could see our heads going. I can see it's not playing. I see the nerves reappearing for some of them. But I think if he plays the side that you've put there, the same as before, Chalobah's got much more experience of these things than Desazi, and who was
Silva.
dreadful, and Silva, of course, as well. And Cucurella has a head on his shoulders. But then it makes you think that Sterling will probably get a go as a consequence of that. So you got to help us. But he scored a good goal.
Well.
He scored a good goal up there, didn't he? So
and down here.
Yeah. So perhaps it's something that he somebody mentioned this in the chat there. Let's not pick him because he does well against City, but he has twice now done well against City. So that may affect Poch's judgment. So let us see. But I'm prepared for the worst, and I will be really pleasantly surprised if we do well. So
I thought you were going to say, "Let us pray."
Well, I'm feeling a bit like that.
You had that tone. Let us pray.
That tone. I was getting down to that. I mean, having said that, though, we played really well, particularly the second half against Liverpool, and then threw it away in extra time. So, we played much better against Liverpool than I thought we would. So, perhaps this will be more level. And I would so love to be surprised by a victory. I really would. As always, I always want us to win, but I almost protect myself by thinking, well, let's the likelihood is very slim. So,
well, it's tough to call for all the obvious reasons, but I think if they put their first team out, as in with Haaland and De Bruyne, etc., and they were bang up for it, and they absolutely had to win this, they really wanted to win this, I think that we would lose, unquestionably. But I don't think they're going to put their best team out. I don't think that their focus is on the FA Cup. I think it's more on the leagues, particularly because of what happened last week. I think there might be a more negative kind of fallout from the European European Cup exit. So I think and I think we might surprise a few people. I think we're capable of it. I think the fact that we've already been at Wembley once this season recently might help us, actually. It might help the players because, they are inexperienced, but they've got the experience of that and the pain of losing. I don't think that's a bad thing. So I think we have a chance. I really, really do. But the thing that nails it for me, boys, is this. If we win, we go to the FA Cup final, of course. I can't go, because I've already agreed to go and spend the day with my best mates watching the cricket in Birmingham, and I'm not going to let them down. Therefore, we are guaranteed to win the FA Cup this season, because it would be fucking sod's law that we do it for the first time in the last 7 attempts, and I'm not there to enjoy it. It's a Chidge thing. It's a Chidge thing. I'm put money on it. Put money on us winning the FA Cup. Coventry will beat United, and we'll play Coventry, and even we can't screw that up. But it's nailed on that we'll win the FA Cup, and I will not be there to enjoy it. So I think we will win tomorrow, and I'm going to go for 2-1. The classic, I really don't have a clue what the score will be prediction. Clayton?
I think that we will lose. The most Chelsea thing of all would basically be to win tomorrow and then lose to Coventry in the FA Cup final.
Yes.
That would be the most Chelsea thing. But no, I with, as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if we won, but I suspect we'll probably lose 2-1.
Yeah, fair enough. JK?
No, as I said, I think it's going to be 3-0.
3-0 to City?
Yeah.
Blimey. Well, at least I'm keeping the blue flag flying high. We will know this by either 7:15 or about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We're all going, aren't we? You're going, JK?
Oh yes.
You in the posh seats or with the oiks?
Posh.
Clayton, where are you going tomorrow? Where are you going to be?
I'm not going tomorrow because I basically boycott semi-finals at Wembley and have done for decades. The last semi-final I went to at Wembley was the game we lost to City 2-1 with Rafa in charge.
2013.
When Sergio Aguero should have been sent off and obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just don't go out of principle. I just think it's disgraceful, the semis at Wembley. Yeah,
fair enough. Can't argue with that. Well, I'm going to be taking my lovely nephew Sasha to his first FA Cup semi-final. And we're going to have a nice lunch in Paddington and then off to the Victoria as we always do to meet up with Pablo, Sam, Nick, no doubt a few other reprobates that I know and love. Smithy will be there, that's for sure. So I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I'm a bit excited. I like it. There's nothing that gets me more excited, JK, than a semi.
Surely you'd have the semi already if you were excited.
I have actually got a bit of a semi just thinking about it now.
Just thinking about the semi. A semi thinking about the semi.
Yeah, indeed.
Is it final if we get to the final?
Well, I suppose that the final is the climax of the competition, really, isn't
it?
Yeah. Thankfully, that's all we've got time for this week.
Are we not doing They Played for Both?
No, we've done it before. And
plus I know them now.
I know. Well, that's why I thought I'd be mercurial about it and deny you the opportunity to cheat. So there we go. So we're not. I suspect now I'll go into Twitter and find out that Nathan's done a whole list for me, and I shall feel very guilty. So if you have done that, Nathan, I apologise. But look, JK and I will be back. We'll be back on Monday at 7:30 p.m, joined by the lovely Dan Silver to look back at our FA Cup semi-final against Man City. And, of course, we'll be looking ahead to Arsenal versus Chelsea, which is on the Tuesday night. So lots to talk about on Monday, no doubt. Now, it's a time for more plugs. You'll be absolutely delighted to know that we like nothing more than a good old plug on the Chelsea Fancast. The first one, of course, is for Patreon. If you like what we do, you can become a Chelsea Fancast patron, which helps us to cover the cost of the shows, and just basically you just bung us money because you like what we do. It's that simple, really. But you don't have to. Honestly, I love you all equally, whether you do or you don't. It's just a nice way to say thanks if you want to. If you do, you will be entitled to a Kerry Dixon banner, and you can join our Discord group, which is basically like the chat rooms on here, YouTube, Facebook, Mixler, but 24/7. If you, like me, are getting thoroughly hacked off with how horribly toxic and banal and porn bot infested Twitter has become, then Discord is for you. I mean, everybody in there is a decent person. They all listen to this show. They're all lovely people. Yes, we get a bit angry with each other sometimes because it's a passionate game, but there's no other bullshit, and it's lovely. I couldn't recommend it or them highly enough. So there you go. So, and the other thing, of course, is you get a Kerry Dixon banner, as I said, if you want one. Now that's patreon.com/Chelsea Fancast. Now, the other thing, which is a thing of beauty, is this, isn't it, JK? Not the person on the left. I wouldn't describe them as a thing of beauty, although some might. My wife probably, but only just. It's the now infamous piss-boiling "If They Sell Connor, We Riot" T-shirts, which are many people are buying up and wearing with pride. I had yours in my bag on Monday, JK. I know. We didn't meet up, did we? So I've still got it. I don't know. I'll have to see you next time I see you. Or I might even chuck it in the post if you want.
You could. That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Okay. It might be quicker because there's not a home game for a while, is there? I think the next one's West Ham, and that's not until May.
They're
Spurs. Those Spurs.
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, the Connor, the infamous Connor Gallagher, "If They Sell Connor, We Riot" T-shirts, which, as I said, are very beautiful. Up on the screen now. The easiest thing to do, if you really want one, show your support for Connor. We also, by the way, I should have said, shouldn't I? We also do these things. We do these lovely mugs. You can have a nice white one there, or a blue one with a blue inside. Now, the T-shirts are 25. These are the prices, by the way, include postage and packing. So 25 quid in the UK, 28 quid in Europe, 30 quid in North America for the T-shirts. And for the mugs, it's £15, £18 and £20 for the UK, Europe and North America. It's easy to order them. All you have to do, you can see on the screen there. Email to thechelseaspecial@gmail.com, and we will require your address to send them out to, and the size you want for the T-shirts, and whether it's a blue or a white mug. And then you have to pay via PayPal, and the PayPal address is thechelseaspecial@gmail.com, and then we will send them to you. It takes about a couple of weeks. You've got to process the order, get Tim to sort it all out, and then it will get sent to you. So there you go. And thank you so much for all the people that have bought them so far. There are more T-shirts coming out when I get my head round the idea. So there you go. Right, there we go. Just a quickie for In Off the Post. If you want your email on the show read out, we're kind of doing them monthly at the moment, so just keep them coming in. The email address is chelseafancast@gmail.com. And to get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/ChelseaFancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you'll help support the Chelsea Fancast. So there we go. You can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea Fancast, me at Stamford Chidge, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and Clayton at Goalie59. Clayton, as always, an utter bloody delight to see you this evening, as it always is. Let's hope we can do the business tomorrow, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Second week running. Very good.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, because I know it was short notice. And
I didn't get to ask my question, did I? Unfortunately, because David wasn't well. It was what Manchester City fans thought of Cole Palmer, which was funny when we think about last Friday, thinking how upset they were, and then he scores another 4 goals on the Monday, which probably make them more upset. Yeah. I haven't read it yet, but there is an article on The Athletic, I think Liam's written about that very subject. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, no, really enjoyed it. I'm sorry my camera's frozen.
You look in a really wonderful. Nobody would know. You look really. It's a very reflective repose, isn't it, Joe?
It is, isn't it? It's very good. It's very good. I've got no idea why the camera packed up. Just probably.
I think you should take a screenshot of that one and have that as a standby in case you get bored.
Have that as my screensaver.
Well, you could go to the loo. Nobody would know. You know.
Love it. JK, as always, you've been an absolute wunderbar person tonight. I enjoy seeing you yet again. And I may bump into you tomorrow. You never know. I'm in the lower tomorrow.
I'm where I was before at up in Gods. No, it's not as far up as the top one, but it's in the middle.
You in the Ring of Indifference.
The Ring of Indifference, yeah. Except it's weirdly first or second row in the Ring of Indifference. It's quite a nice seat, you know.
Yeah. Well, I concur with that. I mean,
further back, it's not good. It's not good.
Is it Club Wembley, okay?
It's Club Wembley without any of the advantages of Club Wembley. In fact, everything what they've never worked out there, I don't get, is whenever there's extra time, you always go in for a coffee or a beer or whatever, and it's closed. It's always closed. It never occurs to them that there might be, or they can't. I think they don't employ the staff longer than the 90 minutes.
You can't get the staff.
No, you can't. Well, I think you can get the staff. They just won't pay them the extra money for the extra half hour. So the whole of the area, the grub area, is descended upon at the end of 90 minutes, as rightly so, thinking I'll get a coffee, I'll get a drink, and it's closed. And this has now happened to us how many times with the penalties? The last 3 occasions we've been at Wembley, the same thing has happened. Always with 120 minutes. You think they would have a policy to deal with it somehow, but no. And they run out of programs. For God's sake,
that's shit. Do you have to pay a lot more for your ticket?
Yeah, of course you do.
Really? It's disgraceful, mate.
Yeah.
Oh well. I won't see you then if you're in the posh seats, but at least I'm not up in the gods this time, which is, I hate it up there. I'd much rather be in the lower tier.
Too far away, isn't it? I agree.
It's a horrible place to watch football from, unless you're desperate for a ticket, and when that's different. But I mean, we've been there a lot. 43 times or 30 since 2007 or something, since the new Wembley. So that's remarkable, the number of times we've been there.
It's wonderful.
I'm just thinking.
Stamford Bridge of the North, Wembley isn't it?
Yeah, well, quite. But I think I'm just trying to think how many times I must have been there. It's like mad how many times I've been there, because I would have been to most of those. So that's for sure. Anyway, JK, look, good luck, chaps, for tomorrow. I hope I bump into you, JK. Nevertheless, enjoy the match.
That would be beautifully fortuitous, Chidge. I look forward to the possibility.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, I will see you on Monday, whatever happens, and we'll talk about it then. You lovely people on YouTube, Facebook, and Mixlr, thank you for watching and listening. We will see you on Monday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea.
Chelsea!